Hello everybody and welcome back to Mining Modern. I'm Corbin Hostler and this, well, it's Memorial Day here in the United States, so this is Soldier Stompy. This is a pretty fun modern deck. Now I've kind of touched around, this look at the cards in this deck and you see some familiar hits, right? We have Thalia in here, we have Thalia's Lieutenant, things that you've seen before. But what this deck has is it's not actually a human deck despite playing Champion of the Parish, right? It's a soldier deck, okay? It's all about Field Marshal. Field Marshal gives all of your soldiers +1/+1 and First Strike. Now, First Strike is just enormously powerful in Modern. It's one of those abilities that you don't necessarily see it on a ton of creatures, and it kind of, is underneath the radar. But all of a sudden, when your entire team has First Strike, yeah, you notice. And we're talking instant speed First Strike here, thanks to Collected Company. Now, Collected Company is sort of one of the ways you can power up a lot of decks like this that have some synergies going, but really just need card advantage to push them over the top. And Collected Company is one of the best ways to do that, especially in a deck like this, where it actually can amount to some combat trick sort of stuff. So I'll walk through the deck here. Now, like I said, you've definitely seen some of this. Champion of the Parish, Thalia's Lieutenant, those are cards you've seen in the humans deck. Even Thalia, Heretic, Kython makes an appearance. But we're not just about humans. It's just kind of a free roll that we get to play it. All of these good soldiers are also humans. Now, we do have some soldier-specific cards that are not humans. Speaking of, and offence, like Kentry Spirit here. But it's good, right? Non-token creature in his battlefield, you bolster one. Another instance to be combat trick with the Collected Company. Really went with stuff that would push the Collected Company to be better here. And I'm playing Bright Mask, because why not, right? It's a cat soldier. It's a very powerful card on its own. Same with Odric, Master Tactician, sort of a soldier lord, so to speak, but there's no way we can't not play this card. It's just too much fun, right? But starting at the bottom, we have a bunch of one-drops in this deck. Champion of the Parish, Kython, or Gideon Battleforge, depending on how you want to look at it. But Kython here, 2/1 for 1. It's a soldier. It's a human soldier. It can be indestructible, and when you attack with it and 2 other creatures, very easy to do in this deck. You get a cheap Planeswalker out of it. We've got Soldier of the Pantheon. Protection from multicolor. Whenever an opponent casts a multicolored spell, you gain a life. Again, doesn't seem that important until it's just you get into matchups and your opponents have Grim Flayers, right? And then you have Soldier of the Pantheon, just brick walls that thing, stone walls, whatever you want to say, for the entire game, right? It's great. Not to mention the incidental life gaining something like Burn. Pretty useful. Rounding it out, the one-drop spell, we have a couple Thraben Lieutenants. This card's surprisingly playable in Modern. It's a 1-mana 1/2, but it does replace itself with a little bit of mana. It helps round out your curve. Onto the 2-drop spot. Of course, you have Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, and Thalia's Lieutenant. Basically, just the two most powerful cards with the word Thalia in them. They're very strong, and they work very well together. They work very well in this deck. By the way, they're both soldiers. Then we have Offence, I mentioned. Now, this one I love. Loyal Cathar, this forgotten card from Dark Ascension here, but it's both a human and a soldier, and it has upside. It's sort of in the vein of the 2-drop white cards with upside. It's a 2/2 with Vigilance, but when it dies, return to the battlefield, transformed under your control, beginning of the next end step. Now, it comes back transformed as an Unhallowed Cathar, a zombie soldier, 2/1. Can't block. That's fine. What it is though you get 2 uses out of it. Whether you're just chump attacking with it or blocking with the Loyal Cathar half, it comes back and it's a soldier and it gives you protection against board wipes and all kinds of great stuff. It's just surprisingly solid, to be honest. On to the 3-drop spot. We mentioned it. The whole deck basically is Field Marshal build around. This card is just so insane. Of course, and then Odric and Collected Company at the top end to really, when you have those good starts, you just are able to just slam the door shut with Collected Company. Mana base, pretty straightforward for a green-white deck here. We get Temple Gardens, Windswept Heaths, Horizon Canopies, which is another source of card advantage we can sink into our deck here. We get Cavernous Souls. We get some Flagstones to Tracair. Now, I'm not sure about these. They could be forests, right? We have a lot of white costs, in fact, the whole deck, right? So we don't have a basic forest right now, and maybe we should because of these Collected Companies and Path to Exile. You know what? Why not? Let's do it. Let's go ahead and throw in a forest. But Flagstone's basically, it's nothing special. It's just a card, right? And I don't even know if we need it here. Look at that. We're editing on the fly. We're going to need another Cavern of Souls in here instead. But at Ganjo Castle, this one's pretty sweet as well. Legendary land adds white, so it's no downside. Outside of, I guess, Blood Moon or whatever. But it prevents the next 2 damage to be dealt to target legendary creature this turn. So that's pretty nice, as a matter of fact, because we have quite a few legendary creatures here. The Thalias, the Kythians, wherever they went over here. More Thalias, Odrics. It's actually pretty good, right? So the lands are pretty straightforward, right? We even get a couple Sheffet Dunes in here to overrun the team. Rounding it out, of course, we have what you expect. Some Path to Exiles and some Brave the Elements. Now, Brave the Elements is actually pretty great. White creatures you control get protection from the color of your choice till end of turn. Pretty good for enabling alpha strikes or protecting your team from board wipes, you know, Anger of the Gods, that sort of thing. So I only found one in the main deck right here. I went with the 21st land over it so we could cast our Collected Companies a little easier. But if you're looking to build this, definitely consider this card because it's enormously powerful. Onto the sideboard, fairly straightforward, I suppose. But we are a deck that is definitely going to benefit from Damping Sphere and Dominaria here. Card is just so good in so many matchups. It's perfect for a deck like this, so we don't have a ton of interaction, which kind of have a clock, right? And we need ways to interact against the unfair decks. Damping Sphere, great for that. Core Firewalkers for burn. Intrepid Heroes, where you just want to kill some Tarmogoyfs or some Eldrazi or what have you. Stony Silences for the applicable matchups, and some Selfless Spirits to protect against board wipes and Gideon. So what we don't have here is Graveyard Hate. So again, this is sort of preference, right? We could play the Intrepid Hero, you could play the Gideon, you could shave some of these numbers, right, to make room for Rest in Peace. And right now we don't have it. But you know what? I don't know. Gideon's pretty sweet, but I think Collected Company probably does the same role as Gideon. Let's see if we can get a couple Rests and Pieces into the deck here. There's one. Now, what would we cut for the second one here? I feel like our burn matchup's actually already pretty reasonable, so I could see cutting the second one of the Core Firewalkers, but I'm actually going to cut a... Let's go ahead and cut a Damping Sphere here. Let's see how this goes. I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, we're making it up on the fly. But you're white, right? And white has the best sideboard cards in Modern. So you can just decide what you need to fit your local meta. That's always what I suggest in these videos I make here. Sideboard I make, and usually fairly straightforward, nothing crazy, right? We just want to be insulated against the variety of decks we can see while I'm recording videos here. But for your local meta, you know, you have a bunch of Eldrazi decks, Bant Eldrazi, that sort of thing. Get those Intrepid Heroes in there. Bunch of Affinity, get the Stony Silences, etc. So... there you go, everybody. I'm Corbin Hostler. This is Mining Modern. Memorial Day in the United States, and we are playing Soldier Stompy in recognition of that. So here we go, everybody. Let's have some fun. Thanks for watching. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Mining Modern. I'm Corbin Hostler, and this is Soldier Stompy, Memorial Day here in the United States, and we are playing Soldier Stompy in recognition of it. And we actually have a pretty solid hand here, I think. We'll see, of course, how it goes against Tron on the draw. I'm sure they'll have turn 3 Tron. You saw me play Tron last week, Mono Blue Tron, and I never had turn 3 Tron, despite basically all the same ways these decks do. But it feels like your opponents always have it, right? Oh, not this time, though. Gaia Reach Sanitarium instead. So we actually have a pretty nice hand here. We can go Thraben Inspector plus Soldier of Pantheon on turn 2 and attack for 3. And then on turn 3, we can play Brymas, King of Oreskos, and this provides a lot of power very quickly. And then we have Company to follow it up. Now, it's all going to depend on basically how over the top our opponent can go here. But this is not bad for us, and there's our 4th land. So with that in mind, I'm actually just going to go ahead and fetch here. Because we don't want to draw any more lands. 4 lands is the max we want here, and our life total doesn't seem particularly relevant. So we may as well go ahead and take one out of our deck. Now, you know, of course, you don't always want to do that, etc., right? There's exceptions to every rule, but and deck thinning is, you know, as a rule, sort of way overvalued by people. But in this circumstance, playing against Tron, it's extremely unlikely to come down to a race. So heck, let's just improve our draw step by, you know, 1.5% or whatever it is here. All that said, we have a plan. Our opponent is not turboing out Tron, I think, anyways. So we get to attack for a decent amount next turn. Now, this is the one downside of playing some of these soldiers, is we're basically a soldier deck, and our big payoff is the... oh, here comes the Silver and Scrying. So it's a turn 4 Tron, so it could be Ugin, which would be pretty bad for us. We'll see. Our big payoff is Field Marshal, giving all of our soldiers +1/+1 and first strike, and everything in the deck is a soldier. Now, we're still playing Champion of the Parish and Thalia's Lieutenant because they're just so good. You have to play them, right? But that said, there are going to be circumstances like this occasionally where you miss a trigger. But I think it's worth it because the power level of the few cards that are not humans is still absurdly high, and this is going to be a must kill for our opponents regardless. So we don't really lose much, I think, by taking in some of the more powerful one-ofs. Because this could just be another human, right? And it would be fine. But as it is, it's a card that's just a massive threat on its own. So now we have to decide how hard we want to play into Ugin here. I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot because this puts so much pressure on anything that isn't exactly Ugin. So we're going to find out. It's an O-Stone. Well, okay, fair enough. Let's see if they're going to pop it immediately here before we get a draw with our clue. They are. Okay, well, I guess that happens. If they had had Wormcoil or something, having the Brimaz there would have been pretty good. All that said, we're still fine here. Our opponent thinks we have nothing. We're going to get a Collected Company. And, I mean, to be fair, we might still lose this game. Our opponent was on the play and had Tron, as they always do on turn 4, with a board wipe. So, it wasn't Ugin, but it was still a board wipe. Hopefully this is going to be a really good Collected Company for us here, though. If our opponent doesn't punish us too hard, and if they're going digging with stars here, that's a good sign for us. Our Stony Silences and our Damping Spheres out of sideboard, both of those will be very, very good here in the sideboarded game. So we definitely, Damping Spheres basically printed for this matchup, right? And I'm excited. We're a deck that really needs it because we're kind of doing our thing. We have a straightforward deck that knows what it wants to do, and you just get punished by Tron going over the top, and there's very little you can do about it until they print a Damping Sphere. So we'll see, see how it works out here. World Breaker, huh? Main deck World Breaker. I guess that's pretty good. All they do is get a land. That doesn't mean much to us. Although I suppose they are hitting the most important one. Alright, well, let's run out company and see what we can do here. Ooh. Okay. Not bad. Especially with the Thalia Heretic Cathar here. In response to the World Breaker, it's going to make the World Breaker come into play tapped when we get to attack here. Which could turn out to be pretty important. I mean, we're going to be attacking for a fair amount of damage. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, not bad overall. Now here's a Horizon Canopy. I think I just play the Thraben Inspector here. Pump up our Thalia's Lieutenant. You know, I suppose I might as well go ahead and crack the Canopy here. It's basically the same as cracking the clue, and we hit nothing, but that's fine. Yeah, this is a nice turn, though. We get attacked for 7, put our opponent down to 4, which means we kind of get to threaten them, depending on what they have here. I mean, we're not out of the woods by any means, but I think we've at least given ourselves a shot to take this game. Cracking the Canopy there gave us an opportunity to hit one more 1-drop, right, and then spam out another 1-drop here, get in for another point with the Thalia's Lieutenant. It all depends on what our opponent has here, and they had to go digging for that Chromatic Star, so that's not a great sign for them. On the other hand, it's a actively horrible sign that they're attacking with it for us, so I assume that means there's another O-Stone coming. And we are actually all out of gas, so only 21, yeah, only 21 lands in our deck, but we did I guess here's one way to punish us for cracking the Horizon Canopy instead of the clue. I thought it would be the same. It turns out it was not. Cost ourselves a card draw there. Lesson learned, I suppose. Certainly didn't expect a second O-Stone. Nor do I think that that's going to make the difference in the game, but I guess we'll find out. Let's see what our opponent has. They have not been making land drops. Their hand's just got to be all gas. I don't think we're going to get there. And we don't have green mana now either to cast any more Collected Companies we draw. They're tapping 8 mana. I'd say it's a bad sign. Here comes the Ugin. Oh, Walking Ballista for 4, huh? I don't think I'm going to beat that either. I suppose I could drop half that exile for it. Yep, there goes our champion of the Parish. There's our other. Alright, we're not getting out of this one. Alright, on to game 2. Fair enough. It was closer. If we'd been on the play, I think we would have taken that one. Alright, let's get the Damping Spheres in here. Let's get the Stony Silences in here, please. And I guess Selfless Spirit might be okay. Let's see what we're taking out. Taking out Odric. We don't need that one much. Brimaz, I don't think we need here. We basically want to overwhelm our opponent, not have creatures that are individually good. So cutting some of the expensive stuff seems fine. Now we do need to cut a lot more after some. Loyal Cathars, they come back. That would have been pretty nice against O-Stones, actually. Alright, let's go ahead and cut some of this stuff here. Go ahead and cut one of the... We probably don't want all 4. I mean, we do want all 4 Stony Silences. This card's very good. We have a clock to back it up. It's fine. I think offence is probably fine as well. Maybe we can cut like the Soldier of the Pantheons. They attack pretty well, but we have plenty of 2-power attackers for 1 mana already. Excuse me, I'm going to cut a Path to Exile as well. It's basically just the... they have a couple creatures we want to path, but something's got to give, right? Yeah, let's just go ahead and cut all the Soldier of the Pantheons here, I guess. This still gives us 1, 2. Maybe we'll kind of hedge a little bit here just to have one more 2-power attacker. It may as well be a Kython. Alright, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We still have 8 1-drops. I think that's fine. We have some high-impact sideboard cards here. That's where what we're going to be hoping to find. Yeah, there we go. This hand looks pretty real, to be honest. We got plenty of green mana. We've got Champion of the Parish and or Kython. Looks like it's going to be Kython because I just want to slam... Well, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe I'll actually play... I'm actually going to do this. We're going to go Champion of the Parish first, into Kython second, and then Damping Sphere. Because Damping Sphere, obviously it's really good against Tron, but it's not one of those cards we can just throw down on turn 2 and win the game off of it, right? You still have to be able to put on pressure. And we want to use it the turn that they put Tron together, which would be turn 3. So we'll go ahead and get in for damage, get our damage down here in the early game, and then on turn 3, aim for playing the Damping Sphere, and then on turn 4 be able to company. And there's a Loyal Cathar. I will take that. Works out basically the same as playing the Kython here, but it's actually even perfect because next turn we can go Kython and then Damping Sphere and just have all kinds of power in play while having the Damping Sphere online to mess them up. We still need to find land for our Collected Company here, which is why I haven't fetched yet, but I would say we certainly have a path forward here in this one. Now, our opponent could obviously have Nature's Claim or whatever to take out our Damping Sphere, but at least we're going to have power in play. All right, and they're blowing up the sphere here right away. And there you go, turn 3 Tron, just like always. Oh, thank God we have Damping Sphere, because I can never play against an opponent that doesn't turn 3 Tron me. All's well that ends well, though. No, we are set if we can find another land here. We do have 21 in our deck, so it's about a reasonable number to play the Collected Companies. I certainly wouldn't want a lot of 4-drops in the deck with this configuration, but I think, you know, maybe you'd want 22 lands in some circumstances, but overall I think this is fine. All right, so we're going to attack for 5 here on turn 3, and we have Damping Sphere in play, so if our opponent completes Tron here, they're not going to be able to do too much with it, and they don't even have a way to filter the green mana to easily blow up the Damping Sphere right now, so they're not going to be able to do much with it this turn, and the next turn, we're actually going to get to attack with Kython and transform it into Gideon the Battleforged, which I guess is fine. We can make creatures indestructible, but really, we just want to find land off the top and collect a company for the win here. Yeah, if our opponent may have to map just for a green source here to be able to take out our Damping Sphere. And Damping Sphere, it doesn't just tax the Tron lands, it also taxes their spells. So they've already cast 1 spell this turn, so they can't cast a 2-drop, right? They have to cast a 1-drop again. And Damping Sphere just... I don't know what it is even. It's just a little ball that floats in the air, but man, it's a good card. Dominaria is great. I guess I'm not really breaking any new ground there saying Dominaria is great all around. The set's completely sold out everywhere. You can't even get it from distributors in your LGS anymore. It's crazy. Yeah, and our opponent's just going to go ahead and Expedition map right away here on their turn, even though they can't play it. So the coast is clear for us, and it is the forest, so we can assume that there's a Nature's Claim coming. So next turn, they're going to have 7 mana. Fortunately for us, we drew land to cast Collected Company. Our opponent will play the forest, Nature's Claim the Damping Sphere. I can't kill them, right? I'm attacking for 7 here. Yeah, I can't kill them. Unless we hit some Thalia's Lieutenants, but that does feel kind of greedy. I guess, yeah, 1. We needed 2, basically. Okay, so... Alright, so we'll go ahead and give our Champion of the Parish Indestructible here. If that happens to matter. The great part about all of this is, right, if our opponent has the same payoff they had last game with the Oblivion Stone, we have an Indestructible Champion of the Parish, so they have to crack it on our turn, which would work out fine for them, I guess. But we also have a Loyal Cathar that when it dies will come back transformed. Oh wow, and if our opponent doesn't actually have the... if they don't have the Nature's Claim, they're probably just dead. Basically, anything that doesn't blow up Damping Sphere here means they're dead. Yeah, Ballista's not going to be good enough. Ballista for 1 to block, that's not going to do it. We're going to fire this thing up into a 4/4. Kython's pretty good. I'm not going to say underplayed in Modern, because you have to have a pretty particular deck for it, like Soldier Stompy, but this is a good card. It's a powerful card. Never saw much play in Standard either, for what it's worth. Alright, so our opponent's probably feeling pretty good about where they're at here, but we're actually just going to fire off this this Collected Company, and this should, unless we, you know, barring a really unlucky Collected Company, since we have a bunch of like 29 creatures in our deck. Well, I guess fewer after sideboarding, but yeah, there you go. This will take care of it. There's a Stony Silence just for good measure. I guess I could play the Stony Silence and make them choose with their Ballista, but I'm just going to kill them instead. Our opponent is going to die. I guess for what it's worth, we can't actually cast Thalia, or can't cast Collected Company with Thalia in play, but it'll be fine. Don't really see how our opponent gets out of this one. They can block the Champion of the Parish, shoot down the Thalia, and still die. So I think we should be on to game 3 here. As our opponent works through it, unless there's something good in your hand, you are not going to get out of this one. So they can shoot the Thalia. The thing is, they need to kill the Gideon. That's, yes, they have to kill Gideon here. Not really sure what they think they're going to do that with. Maybe they're going to play actual Fog. I guess that would be alright against us. Give me the full sweat here. I'm not really sure what they think they're going to do, but okay, here comes the green mana. Are they going to shoot their own Walking Ballista to gain some life? Doesn't really work either. Are we getting fogged? There's the Nature's Claim on their own Walking Ballista. They go up to 10 and they take 1, 2. Okay, well I guess the first step is letting this resolve. They go up to 10. They're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I still count lethal. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Although it was kind of awkward we couldn't play our Collected Company. Alright, good enough. Let's see if we can run it back here in game 3. This is the hard one, and keep in mind we lost the dice roll in the matchup. I think we might have actually won game 1 on the play. This is going to be sweet with a couple lands. Alright, well good enough I suppose. I kind of want to bottom this actually. I'm going to bottom it. Second Champion of the Parish, certainly not bad, but we need lands, right? Because even having that extra 1-drop is nice and all, but it doesn't get us towards the things we actually need to win this game, which are 1, a green source, and 2, just third or fourth land in general. So we got the third land. That's step 1. So I'd like to find a green source here. Our opponent might have turn 3 Tron anyways, despite our Stony Silence. And I'll go on full tilt, full life tilt. This is why Damping Sphere is so important. This is so stupid. I've tried to rein in my rage at Tron, but it is just so absurd that you can have one of the best sideboard cards in the format against them, and it doesn't matter. Alright, I'll play a Stony Silence here. They'll crack their map, they'll have turn 3 Tron, and they'll probably Karn us, and the game will be over. But hey, that's Magic in 2018. Turns out it was probably also Magic in like 2012. I don't know, Tron's been stupid for a long time. But maybe they don't have a payoff here. It's one of those things where when you play it, you never have it, right? And I'm sure Tron players feel that way. And when you play against it, all you ever remember are them having turn 3 Tron through you, turn 2 Stony Silence. I mean, this is objectively a great start for our deck. Champion of the Parish into Stony Silence here, but just might not matter. I'm sure when you're on the Tron side, though, you have hands where you just don't do anything, or you get all your Tron pieces and you have no payoff. And look at that. We might actually catch a break here. They have an O-Stone that they can't do anything with. And we hit Damping Sphere. See? That's why you restrain the rage, everybody. Don't get too mad because sometimes they just don't have it. I have to choose what to do here. I'm playing Damping Sphere. This might be incorrect. This is actually a hard decision because it might be correct to play the Field Marshal there because it gets in for 2 more damage this turn. Which is very good, right? Obviously. On the other hand, if our opponent is just sitting on Nature's Claim over there and has a green source, then they Nature's Claim our Stony Silence, and there's the green source. So at least now we have 2 avenues of protection down. Alright, it's just an Ancient Stirring. So that could be a lot worse for us. Whew, that Damping Sphere off the top was good. They found another forest, huh? Okay, well, this is not great for our opponent. That said, they are just making land drops, and we're not really doing much here. But if we can find a green source on top, we will be in business. We did not. It is very good, though. I'm going to go with the Field Marshal here. It's more mana efficient. I guess that doesn't necessarily... It matters if we draw a 1-drop next turn, I suppose. Fortunately, this does work both ways. Field Marshal pumps Thalia's Lieutenant. Thalia's Lieutenant pumps Field Marshal. Alright, well, we're finally getting in there for 3 here. Our opponent had a forest, but didn't have a Nature's Claim, it would seem. So I think the scariest thing is them just ramping, not even ramping, just hitting land drops until turn 6 or 7 and playing Worm Coils and Karns against us. But theoretically, we have 2 lines of defense up against most other things they would do. Here comes Sylvan Scryan, and Sylvan Scryans I don't care much about. Damping Sphere will shut those off real fast. Oh, you know what? It didn't actually matter which one of these we played this turn, because Damping Sphere is actually going to cut us off of Thalia's Lieutenant anyways. Or rather, the second one. So, in that case, we may as well still just play this the second Field Marshal here. Yeah, now we've got a lot of power. I think we have lethal next turn, so... I don't know what our opponent's going to do with Field of Ruin, huh? I'd actually be fine if the Field of Ruin me. Give me a force. I'd have a green source, and I'd be any land away from casting these companies. Well, it'll be nice if we get there after game 1 was tight. Game 2, we had everything we wanted. This game was almost a disaster. Turn 2 Stone and Silence. Almost not good enough. But like I said, sometimes they don't have it. In this case, their payoff was certainly a good payoff card. Oblivion Stone, usually pretty good, but not great against Stony Silence. Is this a Worm Coil, though? It does look like a Worm Coil. Alright, let's see if we rip Path X off the top of our deck. Okay, so you want to see something, you want to hear something crazy here? I told you First Strike was good. If you watch the deck intro, I said First Strike's pretty good in Modern. Underrated by a lot of people. And you know what? We have a team of First Strikers now. So what's actually crazy about this, and this is just insane, right? It's not even that the Worm Coil, sure, we could just send our Champion to the Parish in and it would just beat the Worm Coil. But what's actually nuts about this is we're going to beat lifelink with this. Look, our opponent can block the Champion to the Parish, and then they can die in First Strike damage to the 2 Field Marshals getting through. First Strike, OP, and Modern. Right here. Field Marshal beat down. No matter what our opponent blocks, they won't even get an opportunity to gain life before they lose to First Strike damage. Ooh, what a match. Oh, nothing feels better than beating Tron. I went to the dark side last week and I played Tron. Let's move to First Strike damage right here. Take the game. Oh my gosh, that was incredible. What a match. Soldier Stompy, everyone. Beating Tron since Dominaria came out, at least. Anyways, Damping Sphere is pretty good. I'm Corbin Hostler. This is Mining Modern. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you like the videos, remember to like this video and subscribe to TCGplayer down below. Thank you for watching. That was a pretty fun one. Let's play some more and see how we do. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Mining Modern. I'm Corbin Hostler, and this is Soldier Stompy. It's Memorial Day here in the United States, and it seemed like a good time to honor, or at least recognize all of our veterans, and by playing Soldier Stompy. I mean, hey, there's only so much we can do here with Magic-related content, but hey, I love doing stuff for holidays. We've had some fun 4th of July, Halloween, Christmas stuff, and you know what? Someone suggested for Memorial Day I do Soldier Stompy, so here we are, some Soldier of the Pantheons, Kython, Hero of Akros, Thraben Inspectors later. So, our opponent leading on Celestial Colonnade here. They did mulligan. We actually have a pretty decent fast start here. I'm going to go ahead and lead with the Kintree Spirit, I believe, here. Doesn't necessarily do too much for us on this turn, but it does mean that next turn we get to play 2 creatures, get a couple bolster triggers, and have Brave the Elements up. So that's a nice aggressive start against a blue-white deck. May or may not be good enough. I can't imagine it's a great matchup for us. A lot of Wraths and Supreme Verdicts and so on we're going to have to deal with. But it's certainly not bad. If they don't have a way to interact with the board very quickly, if they're just Serum Visionings here, we get to put a lot of power onto the board next turn. And in fact, the Kython's going to be pretty scary for them because transforming into a Gideon is not easy for a control deck to deal with when they also have to deal with our board. But yeah, here we go. We get to do everything we want on this turn, and we even have a green source for any collected companies we draw later. Still gonna need a 4th land, but wow, that's pretty good. What to do here? Well, it's worth noting Thalia's Lieutenant will not put a counter on the Anafinza, so man, I think our opponent has Path up here, so I'm going to go ahead and keep up the Brave the Elements, I think. They might even, yeah, there's a lot of stuff our opponent has to deal with here, to be honest. All right, Bolster is with the least toughness. All right, so we can put one of them on our Soldier of the Pantheon here. And we'll go ahead and put this one, I guess, onto our... Well, I guess it's got to go on our Kython. This is pretty good overall for us. It's turn 3. We've got a lot of power on the board. We've got to Brave the Elements to protect it. We get to attack for... I mean, we're only attacking for 5, which is not bad. But we have this clue for later. We have the Brave the Elements as protection. Next turn, hopefully we get to flip Kython, which would be pretty good. Gives a creature indestructible. That'll protect it against a Supreme Verdict. Oh, and here comes the Path. We get to blow them out here. Blow them out. We get to stop the Path on our Anafinza, huh? Yeah, good enough for me. Alright, so we get to trade our 1 mana for their 1 mana, but it means we get in for an extra couple points of damage this turn. Also, our opponent, interesting, they chose to path the Anafinza instead of the Kython. I think maybe they thought they were going to be able to keep us off of having 3 attackers next turn. Oh, wow. Search for Asconta. Okay. Well, our opponent certainly got the long game going for him. We can't stop that. This Cavernous Soul's, though, pretty good also. Basically, we're praying they don't have a... We're just hoping that they don't have a board wipe. That would probably get us. I mean, then again, maybe we're just tagging for lethal this turn. I don't know. Math is hard, but it's just quite a bit we're doing. All right, so let's go ahead and bolster onto... I guess it doesn't matter. We have to bolster onto the Thalia's Lieutenant regardless here. All right, it's a big team we get to attack with. It is not quite lethal. We're attacking for 10 here. Or 12? Is that... Math is hard. Looks like we're attacking for 12. So on the one hand, you know, we talked about... Oh, they're going to path our Kython. Sure. Well, all in all, this is okay. I mean, if they're pathing there, and maybe they just didn't want to take the damage, but it also maybe means they don't... Well, I guess they had to do that anyway, so we couldn't get a Gideon. Hopefully there's no Wrath Supreme Verdict here. It's not that we can't beat it, but it's going to be very difficult to beat it. Yeah, so on the one hand, our Anafenza didn't get pumped by Thalia's Lieutenant and it won't pump Thalia's Lieutenant. On the other hand, we played 3 creatures with this in play, and that represented 3 points of, 3 counters all on its own. So definitely got our value out of Anafenza in this one. Our opponent's going in the tank here with Search for House Content, which I assume means it's not as simple, and they ended up keeping it. I don't necessarily know that we're going to be able to win a sideboarded game against them, but I'd be happy taking game 1. It does seem a lot like board wipe or bust here for them. We keep in mind we even have the Sheffet Dunes next turn to pump the team. All right, so they're going to start things off with a lightning bolt on our Soldier of the Pantheon. Okay. And play fast and loose with our life total here. Go ahead and pop this clue. Ooh, our own path. No, not great, to be honest. Alright, so I have to do this as a sorcery. I think there's no reason not to just do this. It makes any 2 creatures lethal. Don't think we'll be getting a better opportunity anytime soon. Yeah, I think basically we need this to work. We still have path if they go for a... I guess if they go for a Snapcaster. I mean, Snapcaster blows us out pretty hard anyways, but... We can cash in the Horizon Canopies later. The problem is once our opponent turns the corner, they're probably going to turn the corner pretty hard. And they're going to fetch down to 4 here. Snapcaster Path, maybe? No. What is this? Vendilion Click or something? Secure the Wastes. Huh. I can't say I expected that. Unfortunately for our opponent, that's not going to be good enough. So I guess the path was a good draw. I'm going to path one of them, and then we get in with 2 creatures to kill him. Wow, weird game, but to be honest, I actually like Secure the Waste as a win condition in the Jeskai decks. It's pretty good, really flexible because it's good enough to turn the corner very quickly in the end game when you have a lot of mana. But it's also just good enough here to again, not against our particular hand, but it's good early. So I do like that card in their decks. But there we go, we took it down. Now onto the sideboard. What do we want here? I guess we want the Selfless Spirits. Odric probably not so much. The Loyal Cathars should be pretty good here as well. I think Soldier of the Pantheon's probably the worst. It's an aggressive creature, but that's basically all it's got going for it. The question is, do we want something like the Rest in Pieces for the inevitable Snapcasters? It's going to be pretty difficult for us to be Snapcasters just in general. So I'm not sure how much we want to dilute our deck with them. I guess, though, that said, we have a couple... Path to Exiles we don't necessarily want. I mean, obviously it won us that game, right? But in general, not at its best against blue-white. So the Rest in Pieces will at least do something there. I think this is reasonable. We've got some protection from board wipes. Ooh, it's a lot of lands. On the other hand, those are 2 good cards. We're on the draw, and a couple of Horizon Canopies can cycle. I'm going to be really greedy here and keep this hand. Just because I think we basically need to get lucky. You assume that in some matchups like this, you're going to have to kind of get lucky, especially on the draw against a deck that's nothing but removal, against our creature deck. So we do want to draw collected companies and stuff like that, and this hand has the colors of mana we need. It has lands that turn into cards with the Horizon Canopies. It has one of our better cards in Thalia's Lieutenant, and it has one of our sideboard cards here. So, there's actually a lot to like about this hand. That said, drawing Path to Exile there, certainly not as good as drawing a 1-drop would have been, 1-drop creature. But better than drawing another land, I suppose. Alright, so our opponent is Serum Visionings here. The first one went top, so that's probably not great for us, right? And this one went top-bottom. Our opponent's going to shock and pass, huh? You think they have a removal spell? Yeah, Cavern of Souls, not what we were looking for. Not many lands left in our deck. I'm actually going to play the Thalia's Lieutenant, I think. This is kind of weird and maybe wrong. But our opponent clearly has either Path or you know, more likely Bolt or whatever here. I may as well make them use it on a Thalia's Lieutenant, which is less likely with the composition of this hand to be good later than our Selfless Spirit would have been. That said, our opponent just took the turn back, which is also interesting. Yeah, there you go. We have another Thalia's Lieutenant. All right, well, now we'll play our Cavern. Run out this Thalia's Lieutenant. So we at least turn off the counterspell option. And notice I played the Cavern of Souls last, which is one of those things. There's no reason to give your opponent information before you have to, right? So we could have we could play the Cavern of Souls last turn, first turn. Wouldn't have really changed anything that we did, but it might have changed something our opponent did in terms of, say, holding up Mana Leak or Remand or whatever. But by playing it here in the last possible opportunity, it might have changed the way they, you know, chose to play it. All right, there's the Bolt we expected. So the hope being, the reason we basically valued our Selfless Spirit over that first Thalia's Lieutenant is that this turn we draw another creature, and we play that creature, and then play Selfless Spirit, and then we're protected from a board wipe or something on the next turn after that, and we have 2 creatures to protect with the Selfless Spirit, as opposed to just running the Selfless Spirit out, getting it immediately bolted, and never getting any value out of it. And I think its effect is more important on the game than the Thalia's Lieutenant would have been. All right, well, let's go ahead and start things off here with the Soldier of the Pantheon. Actually, yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. Let's go Soldier of the Pantheon first here. We get Mana Leaked no matter what we do, so. I am just going to go ahead and attack. Since the Selfless Spirit's not going to change anything with the Thalia's Lieutenant here anyways, it's not going to give it a counter, and they wouldn't, you know, they just use a removal spell on Thalia's Lieutenant in response to Selfless Spirit. We'll attack here, see if we can bait out a removal spell of some sort. Whew, that's a pretty good one, too. Like that. Yeah, Snapcaster Mage is pretty hard to beat. Of all the cards they could have, Lightning Bolt into Snapcaster Mage is certainly one of those combinations, and it's a pretty good one. I actually think I'm going to path this stupid thing. It feels objectively terrible to do this. On the other hand, they're going to Lightning Bolt something this turn anyways. We may as well turn this path into something while we can. I mean, like I said, it's going to be very difficult to win on the draw here regardless. But at least this way, it makes it a little more difficult for them. And they're going to go ahead and Lightning Bolt our soldier here. Or our Thalia's, I guess they're all soldiers, right? Lightning Bolt our Thalia's Lieutenant. We get in no damage, but we do get to play Selfless Spirit here onto a board with a creature on it. So we get to try to protect our Soldier of the Pantheon. Or at the very least, we have a flying threat. That said, our opponent now gets untap and have roughly infinite mana, so not looking great for us. We do get a redraw next turn with the Rising Canopies, but opponent has a lot of cards and a lot of life. We want aggressive starts backed up by collected companies, not necessarily this. All that said, alright, this wasn't... I mean, drawing land for us there is pretty bad. We've gotten rid of most of the lands in our deck, so that feels bad, but... And there's a Loyal Cathar. Alright, we may as well get in there, right? Loyal Cathar very good against any Wraths. Doesn't work against Anger of the Gods, but it is good against Supreme Verdict and Wrath of God. The real trouble for us is if our opponent gets to transform Search for Escanta. They have 5 cards in the graveyard right now. If they have a removal spell, or anything, I guess, to put a 6/1 in there and then put something else in, they want to path us. Okay, fair enough. Guess I'll take the land. Wow, we have exactly 1 basic left in our deck. Fair enough. We're going to do damage? Hey, look at that. We did damage. Alright, now we get to play an uncounterable Loyal Cathar. This works out a little bit too because our opponent, use their path on our Selfless Spirit rather than this, which is we get, if they untap into a Supreme Verdict here, we actually get value out of having Loyal Cathar because it'll come back and still provide us with an attacker. Now, the bigger problem for us is when our opponent just throws a land into their graveyard with Search and transforms Search and starts, you know. Once people find Azcanta, it's pretty hard to get them to take them away. Searching for Azcanta, that's beatable. But once you find Azcanta, things look bad. So I don't know if it's better or worse for us that our opponent just took the card. Oh, now just passes back. Yuck. Field Marshal, huh? Okay. I'm going to start things off by cracking this. See what we find here. Is our opponent going to respond to this? Is that what they're thinking about? They're deep in the tank, actually. That or just, getting a drink or whatever on Magic Online. But I like to think that our opponent has 3 cards in hand and they're not great. Could be Cryptics, too. That is the thing our opponent almost certainly has. Start chaining together Cryptics and search for Azcantas. Ooh, that'd be bad for us. On the other hand, we've gotten down to 13, and, we kind of still have some gas left here. In terms of just pure cards, we have 3 relevant cards, and they only have a maximum of 3 relevant cards. I guess 4 if you count the search, but we've actually gone, despite the Snapcaster blowout, right? We've gone, somewhat even with them on cards here. Now it's just a matter of whether or not we get completely blown out over the next 2 turns. This game could turn on a dime. I think it's safe to say if they are able to, they have the Cryptic command us here and transform Search and then have another Cryptic or whatever, or they just untap into a Wrath and all of a sudden we just have this 2-1 left over, which is something, but it's not much because this ends games very, very quickly. I think it may be more and more likely our opponent just went to the bathroom here. So I'm going to go ahead and go quiet, and I'll let the editor cut out the dead time. Oh, it looks like our opponent actually lost connection. And now they've returned. So it wasn't bathroom break, it wasn't deep in the tank, it wasn't any of that. It was just Magic. They got Magic Online. I say that, and it says they joined the game. And yet... All right, here we go. Oh, we drew a Collected Company. What do you know? All right, holding off on that Field Marshal. Just going to attack with the team here and see what happens. That was a good draw, but you know what? That's why it's in the deck. I mean, we're literally only playing green for Collected Company. I guess as a side, we get to play Horizon Canopies and feel like they do something useful. But yeah, realistically, Collected Company is the reason we are playing green, and you know what? It's worth it. Specifically for matchups like this. I can't think of many other cards in this circumstance that would be better than Collected Company. Maybe something like Ranger of Eos, but that actually takes more mana. Wow, we don't have anything to get here, huh? Well, our opponent had the Snapcaster. So I guess maybe it's like good and bad. The good news is they took a card out of their graveyard. The bad news is that they're back to 6, so they can put another one in there with Search for Azcanta and transform Search. But we do have Collected Company, and if our opponent's hand is light on counterspells, or they tap mana for something in their main phase, which doesn't seem super likely here, but... yuck. Okay. They found Azcanta. That is bad news for us. Yeah, let's hope this Collected Company resolves. I could have fired it off in my main phase. I could have fired it off in their upkeep. I could have done a lot of things there. I don't know if any of that's better. Maybe I should have done it in response to the search trigger. I'm not sure. The problem is it turns on any verdicts they might draw. And I don't even think you can respond to this. Yeah, this is all one ability. So, once the ability goes on the stack, you don't get to see if they're going to transform it or not before you decide what to do. I mean, the bad news, of course, is now our opponent gets to activate this and go digging for a counterspell for our company. They didn't find it though. They found Path to Exile. So we're gonna actually resolve this here. I think I want Champion of the Parish and probably just Thraben Inspector. We just want cards. On the other hand, we know we're gonna get Pathed. So maybe I just put the most power in play possible with the Champion and the Field Marshal. And then play another Field Marshal. I mean, I don't think we're going to win this game regardless, so maybe we just have to get lucky and draw out of it naturally because we can't afford to mess around with this. That might be true. I think it might be true, actually. I could have got the Kython as well. We'd be able to make it indestructible next turn. I don't know if that matters or not. But I think knowing that our opponent has a path and they found Azcanta, like, we have to try to win as soon as possible, and that just means kind of getting lucky. We're not going to get there by playing 1-2s and drawing cards slowly. That could be pretty good, actually. Alright, well, we just have to play this. They can't get countered. I mean, if our opponent had a counter spell, they would have countered the company, but we still got to get in for 3 this turn at least. Oh, they have a Lightning Bolt. Should they have Lightning Bolt and Path? Yeah, we're basically just dead. As I believe what that comes down to. But heck, if Jeskai Control can't beat Mono White Soldier Stompy on the play after sideboarding, I don't know what we would expect to happen. They still have the path too, so yeah, this game's basically just objectively over at this point. We had a good run. We made our opponent kill a lot of creatures, and we even drew a lot of extra cards with Horizon Canopies. Yeah, and there is the death knell. They might even take this one just to show that they can. Yep. Oh, well, it was a good game. I mean, yeah, we're not going to beat this. Jeskai Control is actually pretty good right now, and I know people like to kind of, dump on Control in Modern and say, oh, it's not good, blah, 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 but it is certainly true that when the metagame hits a certain point, it's great. Secure the Waste means we effectively actually cannot win, so let's move on to Game 3 here. There are certain times, though, where I just don't want this. I just want to kill him. All right. Where Jeskai Control is very, very good, and that's right now. If you look at the GP, I guess it'd be a week and a half ago when this video comes out. But Brian Braun-Duin, Seth Manfield, and Brad Nelson, 2 of those people, TCGplayer content creators, made the top 4 of Grand Prix Toronto, and they were all playing Control decks: Check Pile and Legacy, Jeskai Control in Modern, and White Blue in Standard. And yeah, Control alive and well. I'm keeping. Gosh, I want to keep this one. I'm going to keep it because it has some sweet stuff here. Iganjo Castle to protect Kython and or Thalia. Although I guess it doesn't actually protect either of them from lightning bolts. But regardless, I think having a 1-drop 2/1 into a Thalia, which is definitely one of our best cards in the matchup, is important. And the rest of his hand, the Path to Exile, after I cut all but one of them, I think too. But the Path to Exile and the mono white source is not great. That means the cast collected companies. We have to either get pathed. I guess that would probably be the best case scenario. Ooh. That's not bad. Let's go ahead and play Thalia so we can just mess him up the most on turn 2, but Selfless Spirit's not a bad draw. I guess getting Path to get the green mana for Collected Company would be the best way, because I think if we actually just draw a land source here, we're probably dead. Alright, our opponent's thinking about what to do over there. They have to kill Thalia immediately, which might mean they just tap out for it here. The pay 2 mana to Lightning Bolt. Oh, wow, 2 mana to Serum Visions? Okay. That's probably really good for us. That means we get to play Selfless Spirit next turn and have protection for Thalia. And we might even get a Transform Kython in this game. Unlikely, but you never know. If we had a 1-drop here, we didn't, but it is a good 2-drop for what it's worth. Oops, didn't need to do that quite like that. Save ourselves some life here. Yeah, hitting a 1-drop there actually would have been the dream. To play the 1-drop alongside the Selfless Spirit, giving us protection from board wipes, and meaning that if our opponent pass, they have to either Path to Thalia or Path to Kython. Otherwise, we get to transform Kython. Yeah, as it stands now, they get a burn or removal spell of whatever it is, right? Whether it's Pathing Thalia, Pathing Kython, or, you know, Lightning Bolting one of those and us trading Selfless Spirit for it. We're unlikely to transform Kython. But a 1-drop there would have just been the dream. That would have put so much pressure on our opponent. They would have had to basically have one removal spell that they pay the tax on for the Thalia, and then another 1-mana removal spell. And that would still leave us with 2 creatures attacking, and they are down to 12. Which is more damage than we did all of last game, for what it's worth. Well, we have the path here, depending on what they choose to do. We actually will be able to activate the castle next turn. Not that is super relevant in this particular instance. It's good against a Snapcaster Mage type thing, if they try to put Snapcaster in front of Kython, but it doesn't really stop Lightning Bolts with our 1 toughness creatures. I guess if we draw another land, we'll be able to activate Shepherd Dunes. That's a thing. All right, let's see what they choose to do here. They're going to path us? I think they might be, or they're going to path our Thalia. Yeah, as we knew they'd have to. All right, well, that gives us our green mana. Now they can just bolt one of these down, though. Company? Land, huh? Definitely did not want to draw that. I guess I could activate this for what it's worth. Well, we get to get in for 4 here. Certainly not bad. Well, it looks like our opponent may be bolting our Selfless Spirit, and we're only getting in for 2. Which I guess is kind of the same. Right? If they're shocking themselves, it's kind of the same anyways. Sure, Selfless Spirit down. Kython, though, getting in, knocking our opponent down to 7. Drawing that land, though, that was pretty bad for us. Alright, well, Lord Cathar is good against a board wipe, in theory, but our opponent has worked through most of our creatures that make life annoying for them, and we have drawn some lands we don't want here. They have a tap land here, huh? Okay. Imagine if we had company here, though. Is his main phase Snapcaster Bolt? Oh, they're actually going to slow it down a little bit with the search. Okay. Well, maybe that actually gives us a... So I'm going to make a weird play here. I'm going to fetch in my upkeep. So that my opponent... Because if I fetch now, my opponent could respond by bolting Kython dead. And wouldn't be able to make it indestructible. But I don't want to mess up my draw step. And I want my 1% better chance of drawing something. And I don't think I care about my life total. So I'm just going to go ahead and crack the Windswept Heath now. And I'm just going to get the Temple Garden because I want to be able to get the Plains out with a Path to Exile later. So this doesn't mess up. It comes at the cost of our life. But it, slightly improves our draw step. And obviously we get punished by drawing the land anyways. But... I don't even say we get punished. We don't get rewarded for making a tight play. But we also preserve the ability to keep this thing indestructible. Wow, we were very close to winning this game. If we don't win, we were. I mean, look at that. Our opponent's down to 3, and we actually have 2 resilient creatures in play. Yeah, imagine if we weren't just flooded though. If we'd actually had a almost literally any follow up there. Company obviously would have been the dream, but basically any follow up would have been good there, just to put another creature into play. I guess I can crack a Shepherd Dunes next turn to make either creature indestructible, or lethal rather. And that's good. And like I said, both of these are resilient. Our opponent has 5 mana and they're passing the turn. Okay. Not bad. Alright, so let's see here. In order to do this, I guess playing Thalia's Lieutenant makes them both lethal regardless. It can get counterspelled where Shepherd Dunes cannot, I guess. Is that a thing? No, we just have to play it, I think. I mean, technically, I could still activate Shepherd Dunes. I guess I could Cryptic Us. That would not be ideal. Well, there you go. Thalia's Lieutenant resolves. We have 2 creatures that are lethal. We even have Path to Exile if our opponent tries to Now we're going to get Cryptic. I'd tap all creatures and draw a card. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, huh? This game's going to be close, y'all. I guess I want them to transform as Kanta here. I mean, I don't, but they're going to. But it means that they at least are getting an unknown in their draw step here. They're at 3. We have a lot of creatures that represent lethal. And I'm going to fetch another land out of my deck. So our draw step should, in theory, yield us something good. Also keep in mind, like I said, this is a dumb card, right? This is a Dark Ascension common that has basically never been played in Modern ever. But it's kind of good here. If our opponent has a board wipe, in theory that would be great. They'd love to have Supreme Verdict, but we just make this indestructible. We make this, this will come back, and all of a sudden we still have lethal. That definitely puts the pressure on our opponent, and you can see they're sitting here thinking about it. And if they have something that involves firing up Celestial Colonnade, we can even path it. All right, they chose to pass the turn. If they have another Cryptic, that's basically the worst for us, but... All right, can I afford to play the Champion of the Parish? So the line here, and I think this is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to play Champion of the Parish. That'll put a counter on this. Then I'm going to activate Shepherd Dunes. That still leaves us mana to path, right? Because this takes 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'd still have mana to path, and it makes the Thalia's Lieutenant lethal as well. Because if we win, it's going to... I mean, we might just get Cryptic commanded out of the game forever, but they can't activate Search for Azcanta, or rather Azcanta, the Sunken Ruin, and cast Cryptic here, so they have to do one or the other. And I mean, yeah, I'm playing fast and loose with my Shepherd Dunes here, but it might not matter. Oh wow, we get to attack. Okay, here we go. Fingers crossed. It could also just be a it could be a big Secure the Waste for a bunch of blocks. I mean, our opponent has 5 cards in hand. I don't think we're going to get there this turn, but it's possible. And this Path to Exile could come in handy. Saved us in game 1 against a Secure the Waste. Don't think it would do quite the same here, but Shepherd Dunes came in pretty useful. At the very least, if my opponent does have Secure the Waste, it makes their blocks a little awkward. Are we going to get there? Is it going to happen? Okay, here we go. What are we doing? We're activating Azcanta? Well, that's got to be good for us, right? They found a Supreme Verdict, huh? I don't know if that's going to do it. We did it! We got there! Soldier Stompy taking down Jeskai Control, Kython, and Loyal Cathar. What? These are just objectively not modern playable cards. But we did it. Kython getting there. Didn't even have to grow up into Gideon. Pretty good as a kid. Oh man, Loyal Cathar. What a match, everybody. Jeskai Control falling to Soldier Stompy. I'm Corbin Hostler. This is Mining Modern. Thank you for watching, everyone. That was a lot of fun. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Mining Modern. I'm Corbin Hostler, and here we go with some more Soldier Stompy, everybody. In this hand, we had a mulligan here, but this hand looks pretty strong. Let's see, our opponent mulliganed as well, so that's at least we're on a somewhat even playing field. In fact, hey, we're actually up. All right, so we're gonna go Champion of the Parish into Soldier of the Pantheon here, into Thraben Inspector. So I'm gonna keep that on top because it's gonna set us up for a very strong turn 2. Looks like we're on the draw. Soul Sisters, huh? Interesting. Okay. You know, somehow, in 2+ years, I think is how long I've been doing this now, of doing Mining Modern, somehow I've never played a Soul Sisters deck. And there's lots of good Mining Modern sort of esque Soul Sisters variants, right? There's even just normal Soul Sisters, I think, would be a perfectly reasonable deck to play. But on top of that, there's Norn, there's Genesis Chamber, there's just like roughly infinite Soul Sisters variations, all of which are pretty cool, to be honest. If you got a fun list for it, you want me to play it, send it to me, because it's definitely one of those on the list, right? I have, you know, people send me lists fairly regularly. I really appreciate it, even if I don't get to play all of them. I have just like 7 tabs open on my desktop at all times with cool decks to play. And sometimes I do, and sometimes I see something that catches my eye, and sometimes I see something that did well at a tournament the week before, and I want to, you know, do that while it's timely. Lots of different stuff. It's a lot of different consideration kind of goes into it. Hey, I love all the suggestions what people send my way, and Soul Sisters. I'd love to try it sometime. Okay, so our opponent is playing, I guess, Blue-White Sisters, maybe Blue-White Taxes sort of deck. Parish is sort of common in some of those because they have a fairly straightforward mana base. I guess I'm fine just fetching a basic land here so that I don't have to... I mean, this will provide our green. It's a little awkward, I guess, if we want to crack that for a card later. And again, we only have green in the deck for Collected Companies, but it's just worth something, you know, keeping in mind. You always want to be prepared for it. This is going to be a big Champion of the Parish. So we get the 2 1-drops on turn 2. We had to follow up with a Field Marshal on turn 3 to give the team first strike. Soldier Stompy, very strong. I'm actually honestly impressed how good this deck has been in the handful of games I've played with it. Both, and I mean, basically, I looked around the internet, but there's no Soldier Stompy out there. I brewed this thing up. And it's similar to sort of some mono-white humans S decks, which do exist as sort of like a budget option to the 5-color humans. Because basically when you get the shell together of Champion of the Parish, Thalia, and Thalia's Lieutenant, I mean, those 11 or 12 cards, depending on how many of the legendary ones you play, that's a deck right there, basically. And, you know, Collected Company puts a lot of mediocre decks into a position where they can win. And that's all fine. That said, Field Marshal is just a boss. And now some of the other Soldier Tribal cards, you know, if you want to look at it that way, like Veteran Armorsmith or stuff like that, Veteran Swordsmith, Captain of the Watch, Preeminent Captain, those are the cards I really wanted to play in the deck. But the truth is, they're just not good enough. It makes me really sad, but they're just not good enough. I think I'm actually going to go with the Champion and the Clue Crack here if I don't need to, and then save this. The idea, trust me, I wanted to play Preeminent Captain. It's a 3-drop. It's a 2/2 first striker. But when it attacks, you can put a soldier from your hand into play and attacking. So obviously you want to put in Captain of the Watch. It's a 6-drop. It's a 3/3. Gives your other soldiers +1/+1 vigilance, and it puts 3 soldiers into play when it comes into play. So it's basically, I mean, it's literally, I watched it win games in Legacy at GP Seattle a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, where the deck, another Soul Warden, okay. The deck actually did that. It was in Legacy, putting in Captain of the Watches with Preeminent Captain. So that's really cool. I won't lie. And that's kind of how I started off here. But you know what? It's just, as I started looking at it, it's like, well, you want to play Thalia anyways. You want to play a lot of these cards anyways. And it's like, there's so many of them that are humans in the first place that there's just no reason not to play the Champion of the Parish anyways. And then what you do, well, they're all humans. You may as well just play Thalia's Lieutenant now. And now, yes, you look a little bit like a human's deck, etc., but you get to play Field Marshal, and it's pretty insane. And you do kind of go away from some of the Preeminent Captain, Captain of the Watch, bigger type stuff, but the result is a more competitive deck that both still fulfills the requirement of being Soldier Stompy, which is great, and it also is, I guess the lands are more expensive. If you want to go mono white and not play the companies, it would even qualify as budget. All right, so all that said, I'm going to go ahead and fetch out a forest with this one. Don't know what our opponent's up to over there. Remember, they mulliganed down pretty heavily this game, but I'm sure to slam Field Marshal here and then make a pretty big attack. I guess it may have actually been worth it to play Field Marshal last turn. We would have lost out on a counter on Champion of the Parish, but we'd have been able to attack with this after giving it first strike, and we couldn't attack with it otherwise, so maybe it would have been correct. I'm feeling pretty good about this game right now, though. I don't know what our opponent could have to really get back in this, but we've got some big creatures here, and Path to Exile means that some of the traditional Soul Sisters payoffs, like the Johnny's Pride Mate, is one of the big ones, right? Where every time you gain life, put a counter on it. 5-drop the Angel. I think it's an Angel. I actually can't remember its name, but whenever you gain life, put a counter. Archangel of Thune, I believe. Whenever you gain life, put a counter on each creature you control. Those sort of traditional payoff cards for the Soul Sisters deck we're going to beat with Path to Exile, so not too worried about this one. All right, so let's go ahead and play out this Thraben Inspector, make the team huge. Yeah, it's a lot of triggers for both of us. A lot of life. Soul's Attendant, yeah. Thing is, our damage scales very well, obviously, with these Champion of the Parishes. I'm going to actually go ahead and crack the clue here, see if we hit another 1-drop or something. We did not. Sheffidoon's real good next turn, though. Let's see here. If I do math, I don't have lethal no matter what I do, right? If I pathed one of these, and then they block this, and they take 3, 5, plus 6, that's 11, so it's not lethal. So we may as well just attack with the team here. Field Marshal does not have first strike on its own, but it gives others first strike. So when you have 2 of them, you have the combo. Did my opponent? They're going to go down to 4. Okay. I don't really know what they could have here. I also don't know what they're doing. I haven't seen many Esper Soul Sisters variants before. Our hand was great, though. It was pretty good. And if we don't need to path anything, we need to cash in a... Well, I guess I'm going to path them now. All right, there we go. I think Soldier Stompy is going to get there. They're going to Thoughtseize, see the Sheffidoons. Thoughtseize yourself down to 2. Okay, well, that was a pretty good game. That's what you might call a clinic in Soldier Stompy right there. Now, granted, our opponent didn't do too much. They had to mulligan pretty deeply. And Soul Wardens and Soul's Attendants, not as good when you're on the back foot there. All right, and on to game 2. All right, what do we want here? Firewalkers don't need... I guess Selfless Spirits would be the only possible thing we want here. Honestly, I think my deck's pretty perfectly set up here. I guess I'll cut like a soldier. I guess I can cut Soldiers of the Pantheons to an extent here. Cut a couple of them. I'll give this a shot. I wonder if Intrepid Hero is good. Why not? I don't think Soldiers of the Pantheons are good. Our opponent showed no multicolor cards, and playing Soul Sisters, they probably don't have very many, and they have a lot of disposable 1/1s I can trade with our Soldier of the Pantheons. And what I like about this deck is even after cutting them, we have 4, 7, 9 1-drops, which is pretty strong already. Already having more than 2 playsets worth of 1-drops, and now we get the Selfless Spirits in here. And this Intrepid Hero could be real good if our opponent has a... It's a great creature to company into if our opponent's got a 6/6, 7/7... a Johnny's Pride Mage just getting us down, which ping, gone. I'm not sure if they would board into... I'm not sure how the... Especially Esper Soul Sisters, right? I don't know if that is a deck that would board into Wrath of God effects or not. But I like what we have going on. I think our deck is reasonably situated here, and this is a keep. Hand is pretty good. I mean, I guess it's a mulligan in the sense that we have 2 Thalias, so it's a 6-card hand. But you know what? Champion of the Parish into Thalia into hopefully Brimaz is pretty good. Haven't got to play this one yet. This card is very strong, though. We also could be getting Thoughtseized here. Inquisition and Cause Select, good enough. Probably take our Champion of the Parish. I guess that means I get to play my Temple Garden pain-free, at least. It's a hard decision for them. It depends what's in their hand. They might have a removal spell for 1 creature, in which case maybe I should take the Brimaz. Maybe you have a mass removal spell and you want to take the Selfless Spirit. I'm not really sure. Wow, they actually took a Thalia. I guess we unmulliganed. Ooh, nice draw. Although, to be fair, taking Thalia almost certainly means they have a removal spell for the other Thalia. Plus, it does just mess with their hand so much that... It's kind of a must-kill threat, and the thing is, if you have a removal spell to deal with one of them, and you've decided we can't, I as the soldier player cannot have a Thalia in play for the Esper player to win, then you really need to get it off the table as soon as possible. And if there's a second one following it up, you need to have a plan to deal with that as well. So Inquisition to answer one of them, the removal for the other one works. But in this case, our opponent, they might have pulled the trigger a little quickly on that Path to Exile. They did it in their main phase instead of in my upkeep or whatever. And I guess we had one unknown, so in some ways you could say they're playing around Brave the Elements, and that is a card in our deck that would protect from that. But on the other hand, it ramps us right up to 3 for this Brimaz. Which, to be fair, still dies to basically everything, although not Cast Down. Cast Down does not get Brimaz, nor does Fatal Push without Revolt. Another path will do it, though. Okay, just like that, I'm out of basics. So all the paths from here on out are better Swords to Plowshares. That said, I get to do quite a bit here. Let's go ahead and start things off with the Selfless Spirit, I suppose. Then Kython, then Thalia? Or I guess... I wanted to do it like this in case, you know, they have some sort of removal spell we can protect against. Yeah, I'll just play Thalia and I'll play Kython this turn. And then next turn we'll have Thalia's Lieutenant to pump the 2 creatures. And we'll have this in case there's some sort of removal coming. Our opponent's down to 3 cards in hand, which is good. And we have 4 relevant cards. So that is good. And with Selfless Spirit in play, it protects against, you know, Wrath of God or whatever they could be untapping into here. Ooh, okay. Ranger of Eos. Fair enough. That will get the Soul Sister train going. Although I can easily attack into that because I can attack into it, and this has First Strike. That'll beat Ranger. This will fly over Ranger. Kython, I can just make it destructible and then get a Gideon afterwards. Oh, wow, nice. What do you know? And then play another one even. Alright, play out the Thalia's Lieutenant here. That will pump the team. Now, I could have done this slightly differently, I guess. I could have attacked first. I suspect I'm going to have to pay 3 mana to make this thing indestructible, though. So I guess the downside is if our opponent didn't go for the block here to, you know, tie up our mana and just let me do it, then I could have played this Kython and then the Thalia's Lieutenant. So I guess it's a point of damage versus a point of damage now versus a counter on this Kython. But I just assume that they're going to block here to at least make us spend our mana so I don't get to play something else. Actually, I don't even know if I'm going to play this. No, I probably will. I'd say if they did have a Wrath effect, yeah, we have Selfless Spirit. It doesn't matter. Yeah, our opponent ramped us, and we were able to pay it off by finding gas here. And now I get to play with Gideon. Battle Forged. Up to 1 target creature an opponent controls has to attack Gideon. Sure, it had 5 loyalty. Probably good enough. Or we can make something indestructible and untap it. Now that's real good. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make Thalia indestructible. Maybe I make this indestructible. I think his path gets around it regardless, and I want a blocker for the Ranger of Eos, so... Yeah, it looks like we're just going to get in the attack. I'll take it. Alright, so we'll go ahead and transform this thing here. So what I'm actually going to do is make... I guess this is still just correct, though. Because our Gideon survives a Ranger attack, even if they path this. I guess for what it's worth, I don't want to attack with this Kython because I'd have to. It would legend rule. It's not an option. It's not optional whether or not you want to transform it. But we have a host of... we have an indestructible Thalia, so that's pretty good. And then we have Selfless Spirit to protect the team as well. Now, if they had something that gave the whole team like -2/-2, like if we got Marsh casualties here or something like that, that would be pretty good against us. As a matter of fact, that would be real bad. Looks like it's just a... I mean, if they're just spamming out Soul Sister, so that's no problem at all. Alright, our opponent goes up to 12 here. I think I probably just fire up Gideon. send it on in, get as much damage as possible. I just only draw good cards. Very skilled at Magic today. You know what? Why doesn't my whole team just get first strike? Why not? They do get to gain a couple life. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and turn Gideon into a soldier. Because, hey, Soldier Stompy. Gideon is the stompiest of them all. Get on in there with the team. I say with the team. I guess I'm not actually going to attack with this Kython. In fact, he actually has some value staying back on defense as a 3-2 first striker. But I don't want to have to legend rule for Gideon. We'd be able to do it. We'd get an extra activation out of it, and there'd certainly be some upsides to it. But just keeping back Kython to protect... I don't even know what that means. I protect its future version of itself. Or in some sort of throwback time travel movie where Boy Kython has to protect the older version of itself, Gideon. Oh, you know what I didn't notice? Other soldiers get first strike. Not just my soldiers. What is this 10th edition design? Oh my gosh, I got rid of this stuff in M10. Oh my gosh, that means Ranger of Eos, a soldier, has first strike and gets a trade with Thalia's Lieutenant. Not fair. Just not even fair. Come on. That's kind of funny, actually. I'll never complain about it either because in like Time Spiral Block and then 10th edition, they did stuff like... the Sliver. I think Sinew Sliver gave you other Silvers +1/+1. Or my favorite, right, all the way back Alpha Beta, Lord of Atlantis. So then in 10th edition, they were like, or maybe it's not even 10th, it's M10. They decided that unlike 10th edition, it made more sense if abilities only affected the things you control. So they did a functional reprint of Lord of Atlantis called Master of the Pearl Train that gives... It's the exact same, except that it says your other merfolk you control get +1/+1 Nylon Walk, and it's a different name, makes it a different card, and that means that my favorite deck, Merfolk, became a deck, basically. It was a deck before that. I actually played it at Top 8 and Open and stuff like that with it. It was a deck before, but man, Master of the Pearl Trident is just, it made it a deck in Modern. Although Modern didn't even exist then, but you get my drift. It was enormously important. All right, I guess I just send in the entire squad here. They have no soldiers this time around. I'll just send in the team. This should be good enough. If not, we have a little Cathar to follow up. All right, so they're going to chump block the Gideon. I guess you can chump block Thalia, chump block Kython, and take 4 and not die. Fair enough. Can't say you're getting any closer to winning this way around. I guess I am going to have to legend rule my Gideon Kython here, but it was worth it. May as well keep the same one. Or the new ones, so we get an activation here. Alright, run out the low Cathar, which means even if our opponent has a Wrath effect, we'll have an unhallowed Cathar on the back end here. What is this? Are we getting counterspelled? I guess I should have used the Gavner Souls. We're getting Essence Scattered. Fair enough. You got me. My bad. Whatever. We've been Essence Scattered. Our opponent has no cards in hand. There are 1 life. I'm going to pass the turn, and that should be enough as Soldier Stompy takes down another one. Oh, man. This deck has been awesome so far. I am loving what we've got going on here. That was great. All right, well, there you go, everybody. I'm Corbin Hostler. This is Mighty Modern. My opponent says GG and concedes. That was a lot of fun. This has been a lot of fun, and if you enjoy these videos, make sure you like them down below and subscribe to the channel. We've had a lot of great content here on TCGplayer with a big slate of awesome authors and weekly videos and videos explaining rules and weird decks and all kinds of stuff. It's not just modern gameplay videos. So anyways, if you enjoy the content, make sure to support the channel. Thank you for watching, everybody. I'm Corbin Hostler. This is Mighty Modern. Hello everybody, welcome back to Mighty Modern. I'm Corbin Hostler. Here we are with some more Soldier Stompy. It's been a lot of fun so far. This hand though, how greedy do I want to be? 20 of our 53 cards left in our deck are lands. We only need one more for this hand to work. We have two 1-drops. I think we're on the play. I'm on the play. You gotta live a little, right? This deck's been pretty good to us so far. I'm sure Magic Online's got our back, right? I mean, also realistically, we can even miss our second land drop. We just need it on turn 3. Seems nice and aggressive, though. You know, we get to go. If we get to go Champion of the Parish into Thalia, that'd be pretty good, right? Let's see what our opponent's up to over there. A mountain, you say. What is this? Goblin Guide? You gonna hook us up? Oh, Rift Bolt, okay. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh. I don't like how much damage we're gonna have to do ourselves against Burn here either, but our sideboard's pretty decent. Got some core Firewalkers in the board. I can also path myself, which is a totally legit thing to do at this point of the game, too, with 2 paths in hand. Could have been a Goblin Guide, though. It would have solved all our problems. Ignoring the fact it wouldn't have actually given us a land, that is. Wow, they took out our Kython, huh? Leaving us the Champion of the Parish. Or not. I mean, it's probably going to die, too, but... What is this? 2 mana for a Searing Blaze. Well, that was pretty good. Land? Alright, well... Turns out I might have got punished for being greedy. What can you do? I mean, I could have made the right decision, but that's just, like, way less fun. I mean, we were doing so well. Magic Online was cooperating. Our deck was working. It was all good. Okay, then we died. Fair enough. Oh, man, fair enough. We basically had a 40% shot. It was 20 out of 53, right? So we had a 40% shot to hit our land twice. It wasn't that bad, right? It was less than a coin flip. It was probably wasn't. It was more like 35%, I guess. It's a little worse than a coin flip, but hey. Also, our opponent's hand seems like complete gas. I'm not sure if we were going to win regardless. Look at what they just did to us. It was disgusting. Alright, well, we died. Fun game. Fun. I guess we're not technically dead here. We'll go down to... Oh, no, we are dead. Well, you know what? No one kills me. I kill myself. Alright, on the game. Fair, fine. Our opponent's hand was gas, so I don't know if we were going to win no matter what we did. Alright, so the good news for us here... Don't want the Odric. Probably don't want much of this. I mean, this is fine, I guess. I guess I'd rather have Thalia than Brimaz. And I guess Lothar not bad as a blocker, to be honest. I mean, it's the backside can't block, but if we get a block, the turn comes down and then attack after that, which is not bad. I'll cut a path here. Don't really want to be pathing them more than once in this game, basically. All right, we're going to go first this time around. And, hey, we get the same hand. We do get the same hand. With a higher payoff this time. Do I dare do it again? Yeah, you got to live a little. This hand can't lose if it gets a second land, though. The last hand, and we were in the dark, we didn't know what we were up against. This hand can't lose. And Soldier of the Pantheon, for what it's worth, protection for multicolored, that also could be relevant. Those Boros Charms get a... Well, I won't say a lot. They get a little worse with this in play. Core Firewalker, though, is just so good. Goblin Guide. All right, here we go. This is all we needed in Game 1 was for our opponent to have Goblin Guide. Path to Exile. Okay. I think I might actually be pathing my own Soldier of the Pantheon here. I guess maybe I should have blocked and then pathed it. That's possible. All right, we'll see if Goblin Guide hooks us up this time around. If it does, I can just path the Goblin Guide. It did not hook us up, for what it's worth. All right. Fair enough. Well, we're starting the game pretty low here. Is it a Searing Blaze? Look at that. I'll counter your Searing Blaze with my Path to Exile. I mean, not really. We're still going to take the damage here, but, you know. Work with me. Work with me. Because Searing Blaze has 2 targets, so you can't fizzle it by removing the creature. All that said, we get to play Core Firewalker now, and this card is enormously good. Is it good enough? I don't know. Skullcrack and things like that that prevent... Like, basically, if we block with it, and then our opponent does something that stops damage from being prevented, like Skullcrack. Oh, wow, they boarded into... Well, that's unlucky. I would say, basically, it's not an auto-win, because they can... something that stops damage from being prevented means that even though we have protection from red, what protection technically means is it's... DEBT is the acronym. DEBT. Damage, enchanting, blocking, and targeting. So, you know, the Goblin Guide couldn't block our thing, but because we blocked it, if damage can't be prevented, well, protection prevents damage. And we all know that can't beats can in Magic. So the end result of that is we would still be taking the damage from the Goblin Guide on our Core Firewalker. Well, this is not great, because I don't want to play most of these. I think we're pretty dead here. Yeah, I don't really think we're going to win. Obviously, I took some risks. They did not work out. Sometimes you just got to try it. Like, the first couple matches went well, so we just had to try. You call heat check. This is something I'm bringing to Magic. I'm going to make it happen. It's like in basketball, right? If you make a few shots, you're feeling it, right? You're hot. You're on fire. So you can't miss. And you come down and you take what is a bad shot. It's a coach your shot. A shot your coach won't like. It's something that, you know, the analysts, if you're watching TV, they won't like. But it's okay. Because everyone knows you've been making shots. You just go heat check. And you're checking to see if you're on fire. Like, you've been warming up. You're heating up. And you got to check to see if you're on fire. And you do that by doing a heat check. And that's what this was. That's all it was. The first couple matches went great. I was warming up. I felt good. I wanted to see if I was on fire. As it turns out, well, I mean, I was on fire, but only because we got a volley of bird spells lobbed at our face, not actually because I was, like, you know, doing well. But you gotta live a little, right? Our opponent has lost connection to the game. All right, our opponent has returned to the game. I've got a clue. Man, between both games, we had our one land was a Rising Canopy too. I said this hand couldn't lose if we hit land. I'm gonna stand by that. We had to get creative to get lands with our own Path to Exiles. That's not how we drew it up. Also, I didn't expect to get my Core Firewalker immediately pathed before he'd even gained a life off of it. That was pretty rough. As it is, I expect we're just gonna get double bolted out here. Basically, we rip Core Firewalker off the top or we're dead. All right, we got a land. Finally, this Goblin Guide just a little late is all. Just a little slow. Collected Company, you say? The problem is how much damage I have to take to do all of this. It's just terrible. I go down to 3, I'm definitely dead. I'm probably dead no matter what I do, but if I go down to 3, I'm definitely dead. All right, I don't really see a way, a path to victory here, but maybe our opponent has nothing but lands in hand. Or they're just going to kill us. And for what it's worth, our opponent had very, very, very good hands in both games. I don't know if we're going to win regardless. But anyways, there you go. Heat check. I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't work out. But it's magic. Whatever. Corbin Hostler, this is Mighty Modern. Thanks for watching, everyone.